Greetings, class. It's Friday, August 9th, 2013, and I'm sitting here having a little cup of tea on this very rainy day. I think you can hear the sound of the rain along with a faint chicken clamor from the hens who hopefully are laying an egg or two today. And I'm indoors, not distracted by all of the things that I need to do in the garden, and have finished reviewing your comments and discussions from week 3, discussion 1, and preparing you for the next chapter of agroecosystem health, which is the practical aspect of it. I'm sure you'll all be happy to get out of this abstraction and into the dirt, so to speak. Of course, soil biology is my favorite subject, and just in case you really want to get more deeply knowledgeable about it, there's always my book, The Soul of Soil, which I referenced in one of my responses to you. And I think that one of the things that I was taken with seems to be an ongoing question about what you do if you're selling produce off the farm to replenish the missing nutrients that you have taken away from the farm if you're only relying on on-farm generated resources. So I think that this again is one of those, it's not an either-or question, but it becomes something where you have to adjust what you do based on the particular site-specific, bioregion-specific issues that come up. And there's a whole kind of debate that really goes on between the what we might call the humus farming or the biodynamic oriented approach, and the guys that are really big on soil remineralization and nutrient density, and bringing in seawater and ground glacial gravel and things like that. And it's really some of both that may be needed depending on how much you sell off the farm, whether you have livestock, whether you have a very humid climate like we have here that tends to wash those mineral nutrients out of the soil and into the water, how much organic matter you have, etc. So hopefully you'll get a sense of ways to regenerate those minerals that may not require importing them from off the farm. And one other note is that the synthetic fertilizer industry really is a great metaphor for everything that's wrong with the industrial ag system as it exists. And I hope you'll check out that quote that I posted in the first discussion, or maybe it was this discussion, resulting from my listening to my old friend Elliot Coleman the other night. Boy, there's a lot of other issues that were fertile territory for discussion this week. I want to try to follow up next week a bit on the question of invasive species. That's come up at least once, and it's an important issue. I want to give a shout out to the idea of compost as a form of soil regeneration as a form of healing the land, and also as an important policy support for reducing the waste that goes to landfills. Here in Vermont, we've recently passed a regulation that, or a law that will require all organic wastes to be eliminated from landfills by the year 2020 in a kind of gradual, systematic way, so that everybody isn't suddenly stuck at once. But you know, the idea of closing the nutrient loop is an important one, but it's got a whole lot of other social and political questions as well. And I do believe that composting is a foundational act of changing our whole paradigm, and that's why I agree with Elliot Coleman and Scott Nearing that compost making is a revolutionary act. Okay, the standards and criteria questions also, I think, from reading your papers, and I'm not done with them yet, and reading this discussion, I think that probably you need to have a better grasp of the distinction between criteria and standards and principles and worlds. Andrea has a very good post and generated some good discussion about this. And I just want to say one thing, and I will open up a little bit more of the resources for your final papers so that you can get a better idea about this sooner rather than later. But one of the key things that characterizes the Sustainable Ag Standard that I've been working on for Leo Academy is the idea of trying to make criteria oriented towards what our desired outcomes are, rather than prescribing specific practices that must be done in order to meet a standard. And this is an important issue from the point of view of how you go about measuring sustainability, how you go about assessing sustainability, whether you're talking about agroecosystem health, which is a huge overarching indicator, or whether you're talking about social health or happiness for that matter. And there were some really good discussions about how we measure happiness, which I would suggest translates into a criterion called quality of life. And this then brings us back around to the holistic management model, which some of you have started to become familiar with. You'll hear more about it. I really recommend that you look into it as a way of helping both monitor progress towards sustainability and do a whole lot of other good things for the world. So that's it for now. There's much more to be said, and I'm sure we'll have some lively discussions about next week's subjects, which I'm also working on tweaking up to improve a little bit, and look forward to hearing what you have to say. Have fun!